If you're an expat living in Switzerland or a Swiss resident finally ready to start investing, you probably heard of two big names, Swissquote and Interactive Brokers. So which one is actually better for you? So in today's video, I will break down both platforms across security, fees, user experience, and Swiss tax reporting. And plus, I will review the biggest mistake I see people make when choosing a broker. And actually, I've got two special promo codes for both platforms if you decide to open an account with either of them. And hey, I'm Charlene, your Zurich-based investment coach, and this is the channel where I share my 10 years banking and investment experience with you all for free. Like and subscribe for more. Okay, first thing, security. But before we compare safety, security, let's just quickly clarify why we need a broker. So because a lot of people are still confused about this. So imagine you want to buy a Coca-Cola, right? You don't buy directly from Coca-Cola headquarters in the United States. So today, if you want to have a Coke, you go to Migros. You go to Go, right? Or maybe a small cute store downstairs. So same with investing. You cannot buy stocks directly from the company. So you need a shop to buy through. And Swissquote and Interactive Brokers are like Migros and Go for you to invest. So now Swissquote. Swissquote is Switzerland's largest online bank. So it's regulated by FINMA, basically the financial government out there. As a licensed Swiss bank, your deposits are protected up to 100K under Swiss law, and that includes cash and investments. And now let's talk about Interactive Brokers. So people also call it IB or IBKR, it's the same thing. So it is a US-based global platform. So it's regulated in multiple countries, including FINMA for the Swiss entity. So it has over, I think, 2 million something accounts worldwide. So it's huge scale. So which one is safer? So honestly, I would say both are safe and both are really well regulated. So if I must rate them, I would say both are kind of 5 out of 5 on safety. However, here's something that I found really interesting that I see, in Switzerland. So actually, I see many Swiss and actually expats still choose Swissquote purely because they want their money on Swiss soil. So there's a lot of national pride there, So for example, look at supermarkets. Aldi and Lidl, sometimes they can be cheaper, right? When you buy, some drinks or veggies and meat. But many Swiss still choose Migros or Goop. Same psychology here. They have this kind of national brand, Swiss quality. And with all the drama, for example, from Flow Bank collapsing in 2024 and Credit Suisse situation, here and there. So some people, I would say, currently nowadays, they feel maybe more comfortable sticking to a platform they can see, for example, physically. So Swissquote has a visible presence. For example, you can literally go to their Zurich office near Bahnhofstrasse area, right? And people feel like, okay, worst case, I can go and talk to someone, for example. Whereas, for example, IB feels a little bit more distant. So even though they also have a Swiss branch. So my key takeaway is just purely from regulation and safety's perspective, both are excellent. But if emotional comfort, national pride and Swiss quality matters to you, you may want to choose Swissquote. Okay, now let's talk fees because this is where the differences show up. So before we dive in, I just wanted to say if you're an expat in Switzerland, if you're living in Switzerland and feeling overwhelmed by investing, actually I've created a free step-by-step training to guide you to build your investment strategy. So you'll find a link in the description area. So sign up and I will send the free training straight to your inbox. So it's 100% beginner friendly and spots are limited. So all right, fees. So let's break them down. So there are actually a lot of fees out there and some are more visible and some are quite hidden, I would say. So, but there are three main types you need to know now. So one, trading fees or transaction fees, basically they're the same. Two, custody fees. Three, FX fees. Some people also call them foreign exchange fees, forex fees, it's the same. So let's start with Swissquote. So they're actually quite transparent. You can check their full pricing page here. I will also put all the links, by the way, in the description area, okay? So first thing, trading fees for Swissquote. So before, you need to know that, some platforms, some trading platforms, they charge a flat fee per trade, for example, 3 francs, 5 francs, 9 francs. And some platforms, they charge a percentage based on your trading volume. And for Swissquote, for example, a 5,000 trade on a US ETF might cost you about 30 francs. And here is a screenshot, just for your reference. The second one is custody fees for Swissquote. So this is the fee for holding or safeguarding your assets. And here is how Swissquote charges. So under 50K is 20 per quarter, and 50 to 100, 25 per quarter, and 100 to 150, 37.5 per quarter. And if your portfolio exceeds 150K, so it's actually 50 per quarter. So if you have more than 1 million, for example, actually they added an extra 0.0075% per quarter on the position above that. So for example, let's say you have a portfolio of 1.5 million. Congratulations. So the first 1 million, so it's like 50 Swiss francs per quarter, right? And the extra 500K, so they will charge you 0.0075%, so which is around 37.5 per quarter. So in total, it's like 87.5 per quarter or 350 per year. So if you have a 1.5 million Swiss franc portfolio. So now the third one is FX fees for Swissquote. So if you earn Swiss francs, right, you have a salary, from a Swiss company, for example, and you want to buy US stocks. So you need to convert your francs to USD. And the currency conversion comes with a cost. It's called FX fee or foreign exchange fee, right? So Swissquote FX fee is around 1%, I would say, depending on volume and method. So here you can also see a screenshot. And now you've seen the Swissquote structure. So let's compare it with interactive brokers. So one, trading fees for IB. So IBKR actually offers 2 pricing models. One is fixed, one is tiered. So I know actually many investors, they use fixed IB, smart routing SM. I think that's the one that I see a lot of people they use. So here is actually an example. So if you invest, for example, 2,000 into a Swiss ETF, IB charges 0.05%, which is just 1 franc, right? So that is significantly lower than Swissquote. Now we're talking about custody fees for IB. Interactive brokers doesn't charge custody fees, no account maintenance fee, no inactivity fee, 0. So that's the big plus if you are investing long term. 3, FX fees. So their manual conversion fee is just like 0.002%, so with a minimum of $2. So unless you are moving millions, I would say you're paying just around $2 per conversion. And compare that with Swissquote's 1%, so you can also see there's a difference here as well. So let's summarize. So I would say if you're making regular monthly investments, especially in international stocks or ETFs, IBKR is definitely cheaper. But is cheaper always better? Let's talk about user experience next, because fees for some people are not everything. Okay, now let's talk user experience, and this part is often overlooked, but it matters more than you think. Because if managing your investments feels confusing, you avoid doing it, and that's the real cost, right? So let's look at the interface of both platforms. So Swissquote here and interactive brokers here. So I would say Swissquote is really beginner friendly, and the layout is clean, simple to navigate, available in French, German, Italian, and English. And you log in, you know exactly what to do, buy, sell, check performance, no stress basically. And now, interactive brokers. So it's super powerful, but it can be overwhelming. So actually there are tools everywhere, charts, analytics, watch list, leverage, shorting, all these kind of things. I would say it's really great for day traders, for example, but it's not always great for busy professionals just trying to start to invest, just trying to learn. So even with 10 years of banking experience, to be really honest, I have both platforms, by the way. So I probably use only 10% or 20% of the features on IBKR. And honestly, for a long-term investor, 10% of the features, that's enough. Because we are investors, we're not traders, and you do not need, 50 different tools to build long-term wealth. What you need is clarity, simplicity, and peace of mind. So you can think of it this way. So Swissquote is like a Swiss army knife. All the essentials, reliable, easy to use. And IBKR is like a trading supercomputer, super powerful, but you might need a mini kind of PhD or something just to navigate it. So here is the bottom line. So if you value simplicity and smooth user experience, maybe Swissquote has the edge. If you're more tech savvy or don't mind complexity to save on fees, IBKR works fine once you are used to it. Okay, now let's talk taxes, because for expats in Switzerland, this part can get really confusing. And when I first started investing here, I noticed one thing right away. No one explains this tax stuff clearly, and not blogs, not your HR, definitely not your bank. So let's break it down here. So the good news is, first, in Switzerland, capital gains are tax-free for private investors. So for example, if you buy stocks or ETF for 100 Swiss francs and sell it for 150, so that 50 profit is tax-free. But dividends are a different story. So dividends are taxed as income, and that applies to Swiss stocks, ETF, and global ones as well. So now here is where platforms really start to differ. So Swissquote make tax so much easier, especially for expats. So it's a Swiss bank. They give all the documents you need and the local tax authority need, basically. So including the famous DA1 form. So actually this helps you reclaim part of the withholding tax. So most Swiss expats really miss this, and they lose money every year. So with Swissquote, it's all laid out for you. Download, attach, done. With IBKR, you still get all the data, but it's more like, I would say, DIY. So they don't give you a Swiss-friendly tax report, and you have to extract the data, convert the numbers, and sometimes, a few calculations yourself here and there as well. So if you have a tax advisor, this is fine. I use one for myself, to be really honest, even with a finance background. And because let's just be real, time is money, and Swiss taxes sometimes are no joke if you have a more complicated structure, for example. So what is the key takeaway? So if you want the easiest experience during tax season, go with Swissquote. And if you're okay with a bit of extra time and effort and want the lowest possible fees, interactive brokers will save you more. And it all depends on your situation. So the question a lot of people ask me, oh, Charlene, which platform do I use? So actually I use both. So I use Swissquote for the local service, Swiss tax documents, and the extra peace of mind. And actually most of my investments are with Swissquote. And I use interactive brokers for really lower fees for broader access to global markets, because a few years ago I was still in Hong Kong. I started actually with interactive brokers. So my honest opinion is, for example, if you are investing only about 500 Swiss francs per month, Swissquote minimum fees may feel a little bit too expensive for you, proportionally, right? But if you're investing, for example, 5,000 or more, the fee differences proportionally becomes smaller. So it doesn't hurt as much. And also, let's not forget, for example, Swissquote, they offer more than just investing, right? You can open your Pillar 3A, and you can have a Swissquote debit card and credit card, pay for groceries, and even use it for regular banking. So it's kind of like an all-in-one platform. So sometimes convenience is worth paying for some people. And here's the good news, my friends. Like I mentioned, since I use both platforms myself, I got to use something extra. So for Swissquote, you can use my link and the code here in the description area, so you will get 100 francs in trading credit for free. And for interactive brokers, you can also use my link and get up to 1,000 worth of free IBKR stocks when you use my referral link. I will add both the code and links in the description area of this video. You can check them out and choose what fits you best. And now, here is the #1 mistake I see all the time. So people spend hours comparing platforms and have zero strategy. So it's like you're craving a Coca-Cola and then you spend all day comparing. Should I buy it at Goop or should I buy the Coca-Cola in Migros or Aldi or Lidl? But no one stops to ask, do you even need a Coke in the first place? Maybe you need meat, maybe you need veggie, not sugar, water. So when you start investing, choosing a platform is not step number one. The first step is know your investment goals. So do you want to buy a property in Zurich in 7 years? Or do you want to retire early and ditch your 9-to-5 job? Or give your kids the best possible education? So once you're clear on what you want, and then you build an investment strategy that actually fits your life. Not just copying some random YouTube gurus telling you buy this ETF or these few stocks will make you rich. That is not the plan. That is noise. So if any of this sounds like you and you want to create a real personal investment strategy, I've got good news for you. And I wanted to be super transparent with you. So if you want to know more, actually there are 2 ways to get started investing, a free one and a paid one. So actually I created a free training to help beginners start investing in Switzerland, and I also create a paid course. So if you're ready to go deeper with my full program, step by step. So my honest advice is to start a free one first. And if it really clicks with you and resonates with you, you can always go further. And you can sign up using the link below. Spots are limited and they will fill up very quickly. So if you have questions also about investment platforms in Switzerland, strategy, or just where to begin, you can always DM me on LinkedIn or on Instagram or drop a comment here below. And I'd love to hear from you. Until then, take care and I will see you in the next video.